Got a lot going on? Is your day moving slow? Then kick up your feet and grab a cup of joe. Or grab a cup of water, whatever works for you. It's time to hang with Harry, so without further ado, the man of the hour with something to say, it's Pastor Harry Curry. Take it away.
Well, here we are. It's Tuesday night, and I'm not sure, Nathan, I have that much to say, but I'm glad some of you have lined up and been waiting, and it's going to be a delightful evening, to quote my mother. Thank you, Mother, for speaking early on, man. Good. And before we ever get started, if you haven't done so today, be sure and text Tim and Leah Miller and congratulate them. Today is their anniversary, and celebrate with Leah because she is truly an amazing woman to live with Tim Miller all these years.
I'm kind of interested, and I'm sure Ben is too, of how many years Leah's had to put up with Tim. Like how many years of this are we celebrating the anniversary? Yeah, any guesses in the chat maybe? Some guesses maybe?
Oh man, I don't know.
Are we talking 25?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we're
sure.
talking every bit of 25.
So we getting closer to the 35 then?
No, we're not 35.
Not that?
I'm gonna guess. Well, I don't know. 30.
I'm gonna say 31.
No.
No, it should be 30. 30 would be. Let's see. I'm gonna guess 25.
No, I think even 25 is too high.
Wait, this is 2020. Let me think about that. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe they'll just tell us.
It's really close. It's probably 24 is my guess going to be.
Heather Hill guessed 23. She's pretty wise.
We're all right on the money. I mean,
I'm way off.
We know we're getting close.
Teresa Baker says 22 years. She
everybody knows what. Teresa probably knows.
Timmy says 60.
What's that?
Timmy says 60. Happy 60.
Tim, you better take that back, buddy. You'll be sleeping downstairs on the sofa.
Ah, there it is. Leah says 22.
22, wow. I told you Teresa Baker would know. Do you know, Trevor, what Teresa Baker and Leah Miller did together?
Okay.
You don't know?
I do know, but I do know, but I don't want to ruin that for you.
Oh, no, I don't want to tell you. Where they work was not far from where Ben Hill grew up, was it, Ben?
Is that right? Cane Run?
Oh yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Leah was like a staff manager or something, I don't know, and Teresa was a breakfast coordinator at the McDonald's there on Cane Run Road for years and years and years.
That's right, yeah.
And they were both so happy to be out of there they could hardly stand it, you know. Today is my brother-in-law, Dwayne Brewer. Dwayne's been to the church quite a lot. A lot of you guys know Dwayne, the retired Army guy. Today is his 65th birthday. That's unbelievable.
I did not know that.
He graduated the year before I do in the same high school. We played on the same high school football team. He graduated in 73 and I graduated in 74. And see, we've been friends probably since, 1971.
Okay.
And but today's his 6th. So, Dwayne, I don't think you're watching, but regardless of that, happy 65th birthday. Because this is an evening of friendly conversation with a spiritual flavor.
Man,
and I finally knocked it down after 6 weeks, man.
My man's finally got it.
And so, listen, a conversation, I've learned this about the Lord. It's a dialogue, you know. Yeah. It's about us talking and you're talking. It's about us talking and you're texting. Whatever, it is a conversation. So feel free tonight to bring up a question, a comment. And my cameraman is grinning right now. I don't know what that means.
I'm just laughing. It's weird seeing my face over and over again on the live stream. Ben, Ben, have you sold your mug yet?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Mug? Ben's got a camera. Yeah, there you go, Ben. Get some of that.
We're beginning to show, you know, sometimes you'll listen to these talk radio guys and they'll be talking to their control room guy, but you never see him. That's not the way we operate. So Ben started showing Trevor's face last week and asked Ben tonight, so Ben, are you going to be on the screen tonight? And he said, maybe. I've got the iPod. Yeah. So, yeah.
And Ben didn't let anybody know that I was going to be on the screen, did you, Ben, last week?
No, I don't think so.
I showed up in, like, the glasses and didn't even fix my hair, man. My wife was probably just a little tadly embarrassed of that.
Your wife's always embarrassed, isn't she?
It's just the real deal.
Probably
nothing.
And she says, don't ever do the introduction again. Yeah. You know, she's, anyway.
Yeah, I deserve that one. I deserve
Hey,
that
I had my first Zoom doctor's appointment today, which is interesting.
Yeah?
And so I just finished running. I was sitting down in the hallway in the children's church wing talking to my doctor on my cell phone. Very interesting experience, and it went fine. I mean, worked just fine.
Good.
And this doctor's in Lexington saved me 3 hours of driving.
Right.
Man, it was a real deal.
Oh man, that's sweet, dude.
It was a real deal.
That's sweet.
And
I think, we've had this technology for a long time. I guess I'm going to talk, so I guess I need to be on camera.
Yep, you got to switch it to yourself.
We've had this technology stuff for a long time to do this kind of thing, but nobody's been willing to adopt it really, even in the medical community, unless it's like a doctor talking to another doctor. That's been done pretty routinely, but doctor to patient has not been done. I'm curious to see as we get through this, past this, if that continues or not.
Ben, my doctor, this doctor I go to in Lexington, he's an internal medicine doctor, and he teaches internal medicine at the University of Kentucky. And so he's a very capable medical doctor, but he can't handle the technology. So he kept saying, hang on a minute, there's two of me. Which one of me, am I looking at you or am I not looking at you? I said, Doc, you're looking. I said, dude, I know what you're doing. You're going to bill me twice. I know what this is all about. And
it's crazy to think that you're going to get a bill for that Zoom call, you know?
Oh, yeah. And I promise you, it'll be the same fee as if you'd gone into the room.
You don't even get a discount?
Yeah, well, no, I don't think so.
So we got a question
Probably get
already.
an upcharge because it took equipment and extra stuff.
I
to
wouldn't
do
be
the
surprised at all.
We
at
got a
all.
question.
Okay.
Somebody text a question in just to kind of get the spiritual flavor going.
Okay.
Why did Jesus start his ministry so late in life?
I really don't know who asked that question, but I don't have an immediate answer for that. Ben, do you have an answer for why Jesus stayed? There was a development of Jewish boys, particularly boys, sorry, Reese, that had a length of time committed to it. I don't think it went all the way to 30 years old. I really don't have it.
I think that was, through the teens and like maybe to 20.
Yeah, maybe to 20.
But he waited another
till he was 30.
10 plus years.
Yeah.
So probably the easy answer is because that's when the timing was right.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have been smart enough to say that.
I don't know. My guess would be maybe that's when they started recording it. I don't know.
And I've told people this lots of times. You guys already know this, but it's interesting. Way before Jesus' day, Jewish boys memorized Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
That's good.
Memorized the 5 books of the Old Testament. And I don't know, I used to have a lot of phone numbers memorized until I got a cell phone. And now, just like you guys, if you lose your cell phone, you don't have a clue what anybody's number is.
Absolutely not.
Information is so much at our fingertips that we don't know. So I used to have my driver's license number memorized. Do you want to know what it was? C600 298 367 772 4. That was the number on my driver's license when I got it in 1972.
So in 72, did you use that number for certain things? Or
Yeah,
you
you'd
just
have to
felt
put it on
like-
your check.
Oh.
Sometimes if you wrote a check, they'd want to know what's your driver's license number. And I'd say, reel it off. And they looked at me like, you for real? I said, I'm for real,
Yeah,
baby.
I couldn't even tell you my license plate number, and that's only a couple of numbers.
Yeah. So, but I think our ability, we'll talk about Einstein again for a minute. Einstein said he would never retain in his mind what he could find in a book, which is wisdom in its own sense. Why occupy your mind? And in a sense, we're doing that with the technology at our fingertips.
Yeah, but what can you not find on the internet?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's dangerous. I think we need to learn to retain more in our mind
Oh, absolutely.
as a redundancy and a backup for our technology, because technology is going to fail, at times, and we're always going to have reasons to need, other ways to get to information, and so I don't know. I think
I'll tell you,
that might
I
have been
agree.
right for Einstein's time, but maybe not right anymore.
I agree with you 100%. In fact, my number one way to remember things is to write it down. You guys probably know that. I've been in the book of Isaiah now, my preaching and study for a while, and I've written it down enough. I can summarize chapter 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. Now, I can't tell you everything is in there, but I know what the theme is, of that chapter. And man, that's so valuable, but I cannot do that if I didn't write it down. Maybe other guys do it other way. That's the only way I can do it, is write it down.
Yeah, That's the way I had to do in school. Anytime, any class, if I wanted to do well on the test, I had to write down pretty much anything I wanted to know for the
Me
test.
too, Ben. And go over it and over it and
And
over it.
sometimes
until
I
got
would, I would rewrite my notes not because I couldn't read them. Sometimes it's because I couldn't read them, but sometimes it's just so that I would go through the exercise of going through it all and writing it all again.
You and I are exactly right. In fact, I have in my office in there a little small notebook of what I call condensed notes, where I would rewrite the notes and try to ideally get all the notes that were going to be on that exam on one page, so I could review everything that of course the writing was, you had to use a microscope to read it. But if I could review it like that, man, I could remember it. And I really think there's value in that as it comes to studying Scripture and studying things that are important to us, whatever they are, And I love that. But it takes time to write it down, doesn't it, Ben?
It
takes time to write it down.
I had a thought when they asked the question of what that looked like for Jesus and why we didn't hear so much about him early on. But you preached this not too long ago. But in Luke 2 verse 49, when he says, "Why were you searching for me?" he asked, "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?"
Yeah.
Like even in that, there's this like spiritual maturity for him to look at his parents and say, "Well, yeah, of course, I was in my Father's house."
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old was he?
At 12.
12.
He was 12 years old at that point.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I did find it was very interesting that whomever asked that question, that in Isaiah chapter 9, he promises there's going to be a relief to this anguish that you feel, and it's going to happen in northern Galilee, which is where the ministry of Jesus began. It was just a neat little Old Testament geography that was fulfilled with New Testament geography that matched it perfectly, which is kind of a neat find, for the geographic buffs in the audience. I'm sure there's at least 2 of those. But it's good. It's good. So what other questions are out there? Come on, let's make it real. What kind of questions you might want to ask or we could talk about? And they don't have to be super spiritual. It's Tuesday night, but they can be if you want them to be. Jesse Ford, Paige Lewis, ask a question. Right now's your chance.
Being called on the carpet.
Being called on the carpet. Tim Miller, don't ask anything, man. Just enjoy the fact that Leah Miller has held on to you all these years. What a blessing.
Enjoy your anniversary.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
I guess somebody should have made them brownies for once,
Yeah. It'd be embarrassing. Let me tell you right now, it'd be embarrassing to take brownies to Leah Miller's house.
That's true.
Yeah, because she makes them.
Maybe
She's
a
off
gift
the
card.
chain.
I don't know. I guess it just depends. Sometimes a person that does something all the time, they're major critics of other people's work, but sometimes they're so overwhelmed by somebody else doing that for them that they're just overjoyed by getting it. So I don't know how that would work. I think I know with Leah, she'd probably be overjoyed.
I think so. Yeah. Let me talk to you. I'm going to just segue right in with Ben. And my mom's watching, I think. I've heard her a few times through the years say, "This just tastes so good." And it tastes so good simply because she didn't fix it.
Right.
It was not that whoever did it did such an outstanding job. It was just like, I do this 3 times a day for 5 boys my whole life. And the fact that you cooked it and you put it on the table.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's, Noah and I were talking a couple weeks ago, that's probably a month or more ago, about every time Heather makes a sandwich. It's amazing. And he and I both agreed we can take the same ingredients and put them together in the same way, and it doesn't taste as good.
Okay.
And it's, I told him, I said, it must be the love she puts in it or something, but it's,
wow, this guy's getting major brownie points.
Oh,
Yeah.
Come on. He must have been bad today at work or been stupid or something,
But really, I think, it's something about somebody else doing that, and you didn't have to do it. That's probably why we like to eat out so much. Because somebody else just does it, and it just seems so much better. But in reality,
lazy.
this time, like I have learned during this time, I got better. I'm talking too much. I'm going on camera. Okay, here we go.
He's mumbling something.
I have learned that I can make pretty good chicken wings. Actually, really good chicken wings.
Okay.
And
we talking fried or we talking grilled?
We grilled them on the grill.
Okay.
And they're just frozen and frozen chicken wings, but throw them on a grill and, cook them just right. I use the temperature to make sure the temperature's right. But we found these like dry rubs and stuff, Noah and I did. We found some amazing flavors. One's chipotle raspberry or raspberry chipotle, however you put it.
Getting real fancy with it.
Yeah.
I think it's from Walmart in a shaker, but man, it's good. And
Yeah, I would ask the chat, like, is that what you're talking about, Ben? Is that how everybody else lives their life? If someone else cooks it, it tastes 100 times better.
Yeah.
Than if you prepared it.
Yeah.
Because there's not many times where I've made something and I've felt like I'm jumping up and down about it. Because every time my wife makes something, I'm like, that's the best thing I ever had. Like, literally, like it's
interesting. Put the shoe on our foot and wonder, Heather or Jeannie or my mom or Anita, do they feel like I've just created this wonderful meal? Or do they also feel like, man, I'm just cooking something for the family?
No, I've had that conversation with my wife before where she's like, really, it's good because I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't know if they're tired or it's something different about it, but I've had that conversation with Jeannie before and she's always felt like, it's always better when you cook dinner, Trevor.
I want to tell you one of the sweetest gifts in my day is if I get up early, and I get up early most days, not every day, but most days, if I get up early and go into the kitchen to make coffee, and Anita already has the pot full of water and the grounds are in the basket, she leaves the little basket pulled out just a little bit so I'll see, and all I have to do is push that basket in and pour the water in. I feel like somebody just gave me $2,500. I mean, it is a gift. One of the love languages, Ben, can you name the 5 love languages?
Let's see.
Little quiz for you out there.
Physical touch. I know that one because that's
touch
mine.
Is one.
Let's see. Receiving gifts.
Yep. Gifts is 2.
Words of affirmation.
That's 3.
Time, quality time.
Time and quality time.
Yep.
I think that's my wife's.
The other one is the one we've been talking about, and here you're ditching it.
What? Gifts?
No, acts of service.
Acts of service.
You got it. Yeah,
okay.
Acts of service.
That's
Those 5 things all become different ways of expressing love. And Anita probably, I've told her before, she doesn't know how much it means to me to come down in the morning and have the coffee ready. It seems so small, but it's just like it communicates volumes.
Okay, so that made me think of acts of service differently because I was seeing it as, we see it as love because we're receiving gifts, but yet the act of service is really giving a gift in those instances. So there may be an easier way for me to remember those as giving gifts than one's receiving gifts.
Yeah, the giving of gifts is a little bit more like, hey, here's you a fresh cup of coffee from Starbucks. My wife wouldn't want that, but Jeannie would. That is it's an item. I think an act of service is I washed your car, I got your oil changed, I made the bed today, I washed all the dishes, I put in a load of clothes. All those things that you and I never do, those are those are acts of service. And boy, if you know that the other's love language is act of service, when you serve them, they will feel loved off the hook. It's amazing. And same with each of those. That's kind of a fun conversation to get into a little bit.
All right, so back to the comments.
Okay.
There's a couple of questions, but I want to hit on Terry Hodges sent, Becky Hangin always wanted a birthday cake other than her own because Becky is the cake lady in the church. And you wonder, has anyone ever made Becky a cake?
I don't know.
I got to comment on that. I don't know why anybody would want any cake other than Becky's.
I agree.
Because she is, my kids and myself, if Becky Hangin makes a birthday cake, I want a piece of it. And wow. That's a good question. I wouldn't want to take one over and say, here you go, Becky. She's like, come on, boy, you can do better than that, whatever. But, yeah, I don't know if anybody ever makes her a cake.
We also have, my brother asked a question. He said, do you remember the driver's test in 1975? Was it written and road test like today?
Well, first of all, it wasn't 1975. By 1975, I've been driving for 3 years.
Okay.
It was 1972. And yes, it was written, and I did beautifully on a written test, and I failed the road test.
Failed the road test. Why do you think you failed?
I know exactly why I failed.
Okay.
Because I had to parallel park. And in parallel parking, I hit the car in front of me. And so he failed me.
I would say that's an
And
immediate
I had to go back
fail.
and do it again, you know. And,
But you passed
so
the second time
I
around?
passed the second time, yeah.
Gotcha.
I wonder, is that do you think there's a checkbox, hit a car, and that's
Yeah,
instant fail?
It's kind of like out, you know.
Yeah.
We had to do it, I guess,
I mean,
we do here. We had
They
to
do
take it
that
with the state
last. Do
trooper.
they do it last at the end of your test?
Yeah, after you had completed
So
the
why do
original.
they do that? They do, like, the thing that most people fail at is parallel parking, and they do that last at the test.
You know, and in my day, Ben, it's a little different here in Louisville. Maybe not be different in small towns. I mean, we drove around the town. We drove around the city, and I remember you had me parallel park on First Street where the jail used to be. I remember it like nobody's business, right in between these two cars, and I just hit the car in front of me.
Wow.
He threw me under the bus. Said, "Sorry, sir, you will fail."
Oh, Diane Newton says Becky likes Dairy Queen's ice cream cake.
Oh.
So we need to make a mental note of that.
We probably just ought to order one, have it delivered tonight.
This is true.
At least a
Wonder if
dilly
she's-
bar or something like that. Go ahead, Ben.
I
What
wonder
was
if
I
she's
saying?
ever had Baskin Robbins ice cream cake.
Oh, is it better than DQ's?
They make, so my family always got one called pralines and cream fudge cake, but basically it's just pralines and cream ice cream, and it's covered in this pile of this fudge. It's just the best fudge ever. And then it's around the edges, they like pack like a nut, like almonds.
Ben,
and
can I ask a question?
all around the
Does
edge.
any of your family have heart issues or weight issues or anything like
Let's
that?
see. My dad did have triple bypass twice. Let's see. I think we all have high blood pressure. Yeah.
When
Okay.
when you mentioned the coffee piece about how Anita always has your coffee ready, Sherry Wade said Jim has always made my coffee and has had it ready every day for the past 25 years.
I just asked her how valuable that is. You know,
Oh,
it's,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so significant. And you know what?
And those are little things.
That's so tender to me. You
But
would
it's
not believe it.
huge.
I can't. I am so moved by Jim's little simple act of kindness. It's so wonderful. And thank you, Jim Wade, for taking care of your wife in that kind of way. Man, that's fabulous. Dude, that's fabulous. I'm sure you don't pick up your shoes, but at least you make the coffee, and that's good. I love that.
My brother said, you probably hit the officer's car that was giving you the test.
That may have been the problem. I don't know. But it was state troopers, and they were in full uniform, and they made you nervous anyway, you know. But it was.
Oh, Sherry says acts of service is her love language.
Ah,
So there you go.
yeah, that's amazing. You know, wow. Jim's hitting a home run every time he does that. Wow, he learned that. And I don't know about Sherry. You can ask her. Sherry, I'll ask you. I never get tired of that. If I came down every morning and she had the coffee ready to pour in, I promise you, I'd celebrate every day just like it's a brand new day. I don't know if after 25 years if you get tired of somebody serving you in that kind of way. Sherry, tell us, after 25 years, are you tired of that? I mean, oh my goodness.
Like you seriously, you don't take that for granted?
Oh, never. Never. Now, I might if she did it every day for 25 years.
Okay.
Although 25 years later, Sherry recognizes enough that she's talking about it tonight.
Yeah.
I think most of spirituality is about that small. Now that
Okay.
sounds really tacky. I don't want to be tacky, Pastor, but man, if we just do the little things,
Right.
just the little old things.
But I mean, doesn't that go back to like faith the size of a mustard seed?
Yeah,
I mean, like, do you understand how small a mustard seed
I
really
do.
is? You know,
I do.
like that's a pretty bold statement
Yeah.
that we can cling to.
Oh yeah.
You know, we don't have to be this like huge giant of a spiritual individual.
Absolutely not.
You know, but yeah, Sherry said, I love it every day. I've never taken it for granted as well.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, it's cool.
I love that. Way to go, Jim.
Of course, Tim had a great line there, and he says, Jim is making us all look pretty bad.
Thanks, Jim.
Tim, you make yourself look bad. Come on, Matt.
Thanks, Jim. Jim. Everybody tell Jim thank you. Thank you, Jim. All the guys watching say, "Aw." Anyway, it's
Yeah,
sweet.
just a reminder, Mother's Day is coming up for some of those guys. just to give them a heads up in case you're just busy with life and haven't really thought
Well,
through
you know,
that.
it's easy in this season, as all you guys know. You wake up one day and say, is it Thursday or is it next Tuesday?
This
I don't
is
know what
true.
day it is, you know.
This is very true.
And so, yeah, Mother's Day is Sunday. And
Yeah, I had a weird thought about that this morning.
Okay.
I usually think in the shower, and so that it hit me this morning. So Mother's Day is Sunday, and I'm pretty sure Mother's Day and probably a lot of other holidays were invented by Hallmark, and Hallmark's closed, right?
Right.
Aren't the card stores closed completely?
I would think so.
Well, you can get them at Walgreens.
Well, yeah, I know, and that's the only thing I could come up with is I guess people can get them at Kroger and that kind of thing. But
Yeah, make your own card, Ben. Come on, man.
but the
Step it
real,
up.
I'm thinking like the actual Hallmark store, like at
Right.
Dixie Manor.
Is that your usual go-to?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the only place we get cards typically.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
I usually write like a poem. And
Hey, let me
They give you
you know.
they give you that little
Just kidding.
foil seal that you don't have to lick the envelope.
Whatever,
Man,
man.
that's-
I don't care
that's
about
worth
licking
the
the
extra
envelope. Come on.
$4 or whatever you pay for.
I have seen on my advertisements on Facebook and stuff and Instagram the cards where you open it up and like butterflies like fly out at you, or like like the glitter pops and all these different kind of cards that they.
Hey, let me put.
Make
I'm gonna do a timeout for an advertisement.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm gonna throw an advertisement in. If you want if you want a customized Mother's Day card, one like no one else has ever had, drawn in living color, exactly the way you'd love to have it,
I know where this is
contact
going.
Nathan Curry, and
That's
I
great.
promise you, he will provide you a card that it would be a joy to give. So, text him tonight and say, Nathan, I need a Mother's Day card. Will you give me one? And he'll do it.
For a great donation, he'll do anything.
I didn't say nothing about donation. It'll be a flat up fee. I don't know what. But some of the best,
No, that's good, yeah.
best cards we've ever gotten as a couple has been something he's drawn and done, and it's just been fun. So hit Nathan up and make him do it, man. It's good.
Joseph Pryor says, "Who opens the car door for their wives still? I still do." That's a big one. I used to do that.
Some of that,
Keyword there,
isn't
used
it
to.
true though, guys? That simple stuff gets lost. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, the couples that get old and still have a twinkle in their loving relationship is because they've attended to just some of those little things. I'm
Right.
sure they've had as many difficulties
Right.
and as many struggles and as many fights and problems as anybody else, but they keep attending to just the little things.
That can relate to our spiritual walk as well.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of how we, and Scripture looks at that as well, to say, we relate our spiritual journeys with how a man and a wife
Yeah.
are supposed to live the rest of their lives out. Right?
Absolutely. Just the simple obediences and the things that we know to do, that we just do those things. And man, it's amazing. We make it, I always make it too complicated.
Oh, yeah.
And so, anyway.
The one thing I do that my wife doesn't care for is her love language is time, quality time. And there's times where she just wants to talk and just share her heart, share her mind, share her thoughts. And for some reason, I'm always the guy that wants to fix. So like if she's sharing a burden, like I can't keep my mouth shut because I feel like I've got to fix for you. I got to answer because my personality is such I got to help you.
It's interesting you would bring that up.
Okay.
Ben, it's interesting you would bring, because
good.
this morning,
Good segue.
the word that I looked up to study was the word fix.
Okay.
So let me tell you what it means. Got it right here on my little paper.
Let's hear
we
about
didn't
it.
We didn't practice this. Fix means to set my eyes on, and to be immovable, to pierce or to stick in, to fasten, to attach, to become permanent like a fixed color, or to get settled on. Now it came out of that as it developed to mean to adjust or to arrange, and it finally came to mean repair. But the original meaning was not to repair it or straighten it. It was to, like we would use it, I fixed my eyes on that light.
Okay.
It was like to be steadfast and steady, and it come how it began to mean, I'm going to arrange this stuff. And then it got to the point it meant, I'm going to fix the car. And so the meaning was not originally, I don't know what to do with that other than it doesn't mean to repair it. It
Okay.
means just, fix your eyes on Jeannie, listen to what she has to say.
Right. Focus, like the
Focus.
focus.
Don't repair it. Settle in. Stay there. That's interesting. Go ahead, Ben. What are you thinking, man?
Yeah, that's a struggle I have is, sometimes it's not my eyes that have trouble fixing, it's my brain.
I understand.
And I mean, many times. Heather will be talking and just, I have to mute the TV, or I have to, close the door to the kids' room or something, just because any distraction just ruins it. And she's been very, I don't know, graceful to me on occasion, being willing to repeat herself a lot. And but it's not because I don't want to fix my attention on her. It's just I just can't get my brain to shut off. And it's a character flaw, I think, in me. I have this. I do the same thing at work, and all my staff they've figured out how to work around me. They can tell by looking at me if I'm not listening to them, so they'll just wait. But
it's interesting.
So at work I can get away with it, but at home, I'm not the boss, so it's kind of like and it's not and I don't do it intentionally. I don't know. It's something else I got to work on. This week is being kinder. I'll put that maybe next week.
Okay, that's fine. One of the things that intrigued me back in Isaiah chapter 5, he talks about those 5 things. He calls them the woes of Isaiah 5. Well, the first was self-interest. The second was to be busy. I looked up busy yesterday. We won't have to get into that one. The third one was to be in a hurry. And I have come to believe that being in a hurry is a huge part of the difficulty in our lives, our family, our world, our home, and everything. We are in such a hurry. Now, I know I'm getting a little older, and so maybe when you get older, you slow it down a little bit. You guys are particularly younger. Your families are younger. But man, everybody's in such a hurry.
In a hurry for what, I guess? Like to get something done, to get on to the next thing?
Yeah, for me, I'm not in a hurry. It's everything else hurrying me. So like, I know I have to be here at this particular time, and so I have to hurry all these other things to be able to get to that place at that particular time. And so...
Well, can I interrupt you right there, just for fun?
Sure.
Eugene Peterson has an interesting definition of being lazy. His definition of lazy is letting someone else determine your schedule.
Yeah.
So if you can't be there till 3, you need to say, I'm sorry guys, I can't be there by 2. I won't be there till 3, and then give yourself room to breathe.
But at some point, even Eugene Peterson had to let someone else determine his schedule.
I know he did.
I know he did. Because we're not always in the position where we can dictate what our schedule will be.
With our families, with our spouses, certainly with work.
Yeah. We don't call the doctor and say, hey, I'd like to make an appointment. This is when I'm available. We say, when are you available?
Yeah, that's right. It's just interesting, though, to think about how much, the common, tonight's a good common conversation about. I had this little practice. In fact, I got a grandfather clock on my cell phone. Every now and then I'll turn it on. So it'll ding, dong, dong, dong on a quarter hour, half hour, 3/4 an hour, just to kind of keep me in touch with time and try to slow down.
Okay.
Just try to. In fact, one day, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I thought, now today I'm just going to count to 60. We may have talked about this already. So I get about in the middle of 30 and I forget which number I was on. I mean, literally. I dare you to try it. You'll be at 33 or 34 and say, well, you get in the mid-40s and think, I don't know if I counted the 30s or not. We can't hardly count to 60 without just...
Something else grabbing our attention.
Something else grabs our attention and runs with it. And a lot of times it's valuable stuff, and a lot of times it's just stuff, You want to say, slow this puppy down, man.
When I was spending time every day in my war room, prayer room, that was my favorite thing about it, because I would sit there until my brain would be quiet. And sometimes I'd have to sit there for a long time. But I would just, anything I came to my mind, I'd write it down, and I put it in the sandbox is what I called it. And I would just process through everything until my brain would finally stop. And that was good. I loved that.
That was good. Dr. Paul Oriala was a missions professor at seminary, and he taught us how to not have your prayers interrupted. When you're trying to pray, he said, get you a pencil and a piece of paper, just like you're doing, Ben. In the middle of your praying, if you remember, I need to call Tom Jones today and talk to him about the computer repair, write down, call Tom Jones today. And then you know it's going to be there, and you don't have to carry it for the next 10 minutes that you've got to spend praying, you know. And boy, we get distracted easy, and we get in a hurry, and hey guys, we all need to slow down. If you're out there right now and you don't need to slow down, you're in an unusual group of people.
Yeah, I feel like Aaron Van Fleet commented as well and said, you know, even in this season, like, I have not slowed down, you know, and for myself, like, I have not either, you know. And I'm sure for you, Ben, you could say the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. It's, I'm trying to pull a word out that I can't get, but when something are diametrically
Opposed?
The diametric opposition between my work day and me coming home has been like shocking, like for me, because it's, you know, I go to work and everything is probably worse than normal in terms of stress and activity, but then I come home and it's like we're working puzzles and we're going for walks and it's like which is not normal for us. Okay. We're normally running. We got somewhere we got to be and got, you know, and so it's been good because I do feel like I've gotten a release at home that I didn't normally haven't.
But that started during this
COVID-19
season?
Yeah. Yeah. We've worked a lot of puzzles.
Yeah, I'm interested for the chat to hear their, like, experience during the season. Have you been hurried the same, or has it been more of a slow down? I've implemented these kind of things like Ben's talking about. Like, have you implemented the board game night or the family puzzle night or whatever that's looked like? I'm interested to hear what everyone's saying. Oh, Randy Curry's on.
Oh, good. RC. Hey, just in case you guys don't know, Randy Curry is he's unquestionably my best friend in the whole world.
And he loves backpacks. He loves wearing backpacks.
He doesn't have time for backpacks. Anyway, that's a whole different story. Randy, I don't have a backpack on. Look here, man.
Man, I love the conversation tonight in the chats is really good. Like, everybody's just, you know, I guess people are just excited about, you know, just seeing other people and
Randy Curry's the man. He's the man.
Yeah.
He got a little place in the country that he lives in, and boy, right down the corner from him, they got a corner grocery store that can throw down the grub. I'm telling you. I asked him the other day, said, so are they still cooking at the corner mart? He said, oh yeah, you don't have to worry about that. So you can still eat the corner mart, and so it's good.
There were several people that commented on the card idea that you talked about, Nathan. Leah said Steph has the card Nathan made for her 16th birthday still. Diane says, I still have the thank you card Nathan drew and sent us for his graduation. So it's just cool to see, like, the card thing is not a lost, you know, people still appreciate that. Yeah.
You know,
I have a card my sister made me for my 40th birthday, and it just had a picture, but it, you know, it had like a collage of pictures of me through my life, you know. And yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. Some things that we think are lost.
Right.
I don't know. In this season, I've gotten a few cards from people just say, "Hey, thanks for what you're doing," you know, and trying to keep us connected any way you can. And man, that means a lot.
Yeah, a thank you means a lot.
Man, these are common courtesies mean a lot. I mean, come on. When we get back to believing, common courtesies mean a lot.
Do you feel like a thank you is kind of lost in our day and age?
I do.
What do you think, Ben?
You know, Chick-fil-A burnt me up on the thank you.
They did what to you?
They burnt me up on the thank you. So Chick-fil-A, if you go through their drive-through and you don't say thank you when they hand you your food, then you won't. They don't know what to do because they're waiting for that as their cue to say my pleasure. You know, and I just did that one time to see what would happen. They didn't say anything, and they kind of looked a little bit confused. And I guess, you know, then I sort of felt bad because I'm like, well, you big jerk, you should have said thank you. But I don't know. I think we have taken thank you. I think thank you has a little more real value than how are you. I think how are you, or how's it going, or how are you today, or whatever. I think we ask that,
We don't
really want the answer. We just want people to say, I'm okay.
It's just kind of what
Yeah.
the thing you
the,
do.
Yeah, the conversation, I think societal definition, the conversation should be, how are you? Okay. How are you? Okay. And then you go on to something else. and it's that's not real.
No, it's two lies is what that is. But
Yeah, that's really true. And so, yeah, I mean, I do try to be a weirdo with that one. When I ask somebody, you know, how are you today? And they say, okay. And I'll say, really?
Right. You're right. I find myself like when I'm really, you know, in a conversation with somebody, like, no, really, like, how are you doing? Like, I really want to know.
Yeah, but you kind of have to
I
dig.
see what you're saying.
Kind of have to dig that out of them. But I think thank you is kind of heading that way. I think we throw it out there a little bit, just not even really. It's become a word, not an emotion or a
Appreciation.
Real
I have a suggestion
action.
as to why, and that is we have a receiving problem.
Okay.
We don't receive real well. We think, I got to earn it, I got to do it, it's up to me, and to have somebody just give to us maybe I'm just speaking for Harry, but we don't receive real well, you know. And well, when you genuinely receive, it seems like, man, you want to say thank you because I recognize I didn't do anything to earn this. I didn't, you know, you didn't owe me this. Wow, thank you. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I have my, you know, I'm still talking about my birthday from almost a month ago, but it's like my family made my birthday so amazing. And, you know, all they did was just act like it was my birthday all day. And
I want it to be my birthday every day, don't you?
dude, I had that thought. Kid president came to mind big time for me
Yeah,
the next
kid
day. 'Cause
president. I
I'm
forgot
like,
about that dude, man.
I'm like, oh, today's not my birthday anymore. And then I kept hearing, you treat everybody like it's their birthday. But yeah, man.
Kid president was cool.
I just really felt really special. And just, you know, everybody just gave me a little more grace and a little more, you know, I don't know. It was a good day.
Don't you think everybody would like that same treatment from us?
Oh yeah, man. No question.
I remember a story I read about Brennan Manning, who, when he was living, was really everybody wanted him to come and preach for them. He was a strange dude, you know, Brennan Manning, but he was preaching somewhere in Mexico, and when he stayed with a family, and when he got done with the service, he just signed the check over and gave it to the family, whatever they paid him. I think it was a pretty good chunk of change. So he gave them to the family, and he said, for the next 30 days in a row, he got a thank you note. Now, I never forgot that illustration, like, man, just the gratitude, you know, the gratitude.
Yeah.
It'd be good for us to kind of, man, we're talking about good old-fashioned common stuff tonight. This is the kind of stuff that I like, just the simple common stuff.
Because like if this stuff's not talked about, it's just going to get lost in the generation below me, in the generation below them. You know, like if that stuff's not only, if they don't see that, right, if that's not acted out, and if you're definitely not talking about it, then it's just going to get lost.
What is the word? It didn't come to my mind that we're living in a I deserve it society, kind of like.
Yeah, what is that?
What's that word, Ben? I deserve it. I'm supposed to get it. Like
entitled.
Yeah, entitled. The entitlement mentality does not include thank yous. And if in fact we're living in an entitlement society, I mean, I was supposed to get it. I deserved it, like everybody else. There's not much room for thank you in that.
So is that culture pushing us? Watch it. Is that culture?
My leg fell off. I'll put it back on.
That's our rigged up desk we got there.
Keeps me from reeling.
Everybody's fine.
No, man, it's okay.
No,
it's
it's
okay.
okay.
I won't rock it off.
I don't want the desk to fall.
So is that our culture pushing us out of that gratitude mindset, or is that just us getting too busy, like you said, or too hurried?
You know, when I was graduating from Trevecca, the last class I had, this dude, you remember him? His name was Craig Keene. Was Craig there when you were there, Trevor? Craig Keene?
Sounds familiar, but
he made us read a book by this Catholic theologian, Richard Reinhold Niebuhr.
Okay.
It was entitled Christ and Culture. His question was, is the church shaping the culture, or is the culture shaping the church?
Great question.
And the truth is, it's always been the church's role to shape the culture. And so to say the culture is encroaching in upon us, I think that's correct. But man, that's a reverse order. We ought to be leaders in saying thank you, man.
Well, how would you answer that question in 2020? Like you personally, how would you answer that?
I think the culture has absolutely impacted the church. Unquestionably. The things we do and the way we do them and the ways we operate, it is unquestionably impacted. And we, as a church, have failed to impact the culture in the way that we should. And yeah. But this season gives a chance for a reset, man. We can push the button on a computer and it starts all over. Restart button, reset button, whatever. Whatever it is. We can push that button and we can restart a bit. And so I'm excited about that. It's good. It's good.
So we got a couple of comments rolling in. Beverly McKinney says, most people really don't want to know how you really are because they might need to expend effort into the relationship. Too many friends are really just acquaintances. So there's probably some truth to that.
Oh, there's a whole lot of truth in that.
And then Jackie says, I've seen great kindness from my church family and from my non-church family during this quarantine. People supplying genuine effort to stay connected, and everyone ramped up since her mom passed away.
Yeah, Jackie just lost her mom. Yeah.
So if you think people don't love you, just wait. They do show up, and I'm so appreciative of it.
Man, Jackie, thank you for saying that. I know that's true.
Yeah.
My experience, and your guys maybe have been too, if you have something major happen, like have a cardiac arrest, and people that you thought had moved to the moon will write you and say, hey man, I'm glad you're doing well. I was sorry. And you're thinking, I didn't even know that you knew I had a phone, much less would text me and say something. It's amazing. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, with the stuff with my brother-in-law, has really brought a lot of people out. Just, people asking about him and from like I've had customers ask about him that I'm not even exactly sure how they found out about him. I'm guessing Terry told somebody that told somebody. I don't know, but anyway, so that's been good. And while I'm on that subject, I'll just let everybody know Morton's back in the hospital and going to have hopefully have surgery later in the week. But if he's not better by tomorrow, they may have to do it tomorrow. Please keep praying for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mort Logston, for those of you that know Mort. Yeah, that's hugely important.
Paige Lewis had an interesting comment that I'd like to hear your input. Karen Lewis quoted, it would be a sweeter world if we said, I'm sorry, as much as we say thank you. You agree with that? To say, I'm sorry, just as much as we say thank you.
Why do you put me on the spot?
I don't know. It's Hanging with Harry, man.
I wish Randy was here. Listen. Let me tell you how Randy and I deal with this.
Okay.
And this is Karen Lewis. Karen and I have a similar personality.
Okay.
So I'm working with Randy, and all day long I said, I'm sorry about that. He said, will you please quit saying I'm sorry? I told him, I preached a sermon one time about quit saying I'm sorry and say thank you instead. Because I'm sorry, man, that can be awfully self-focused, and so, but I work with him all along. He say, if you say I'm sorry one more time, I ain't putting up with it anymore. You're supposed to be saying thank you. So I don't know, Karen. Yeah. There's some thin line there between, I don't know, they're both important.
I can see her perspective of saying, if we can admit our wrongs, just as much as we just say the general thank you, and we can admit that I messed up there, then I see what she's saying by that. We need that just as much as we need thank you.
Yeah, I agree with the point, but I think both of those words are overused non-genuinely.
Okay.
It's easy. I think it's easy for me to say this. Both thank you and I'm sorry are used more without genuine use than they are with genuine use.
Yeah. We could do it with grandkids right now. Ben, you'll find out your kids are old enough they don't do that. They say, I'm sorry doesn't mean a doggone thing. They go right back doing the same thing, you know. I'm sorry I hit him, slap. You know, there you go. Sorry means you're going to change your ways, right? No.
So Ben, how do we help that? As you know, when we talk about the church to be driving our culture and leading our culture, how does the church, as Christians, as people who love others, how do we help in that? I mean, is that too much
You asked Ben.
Sunday school
I'm going to give him a chance to answer, and I'm going to tell you my perspective on that.
I don't know. I think as a church, maybe we stand different by making our words mean something when we use them. And we shouldn't be people that use words just to fill up the silence. We should be people that use words that are meaningful and valuable to relationships or to leading other people to Christ, to helping, to that kind of thing. It should be genuine. We should live genuine lives, both with our actions and with our words at all times.
I love that. I think he's right. The other thing I think is, so often I say this, and I don't know, I feel like at times I can't be responsible for the whole church. I have to just say, this is what Harry needs to do. Harry needs to say thank you and say I'm sorry, and I really mean it. Now, our sound lady's in the house, and I'm trying to get something from her.
I'm wanting to hear from Reese.
Reese said no to Trevor, but I thought maybe if the pastor answered her.
I was asking her if she was mic'd up. So Ben's got the mic.
She's mic'd up.
Can I hand it to her? Reese, I'm interested in hearing from a younger mind. What do we do? Like, first off, do we put ourselves in a place where you feel like the sorries and the thank yous, like that, it's really not, it's meaningless or it's kind of overused maybe? Like, do you agree with that? Disagree?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So how do we as church, as Christians, what do we do with that, Reese? Like, how would you do that with your friends?
I don't know.
Putting her on the spot.
Just give her time. She just needs a little time.
Yeah.
Do you think you overuse it?
Sometimes I overuse it.
It's a pretty easy fix sometimes, I think. It's like if you said that, that's all you had to do.
Yeah. No, I think reality is like it's very easy to fall into that mindset where we overuse that, or maybe not overuse it, but just it doesn't mean as much as it should, I guess.
So
right.
let's do an online challenge tonight, okay? If you're watching, do this. Try to find some way tonight to say a genuine thank you to somebody.
That's good.
That you're really grateful to for what they've done, who they've been, what they've said, anything today. Just really express straight up thank you. I think that could be meaningful all across the board.
So I got a question. What gives value to the words we say? How they are given or how they are received? What gives value to the words we say?
Well, I think
Was that two options?
It's related to what Ben just said. What gives value to the words we say is that they're backed up with actions and attitude and the truthfulness that makes them credible words. Even if they're words that you don't want to hear, if they're based on the truth, then they become valuable words, And so I think words that are backed up with life, Interesting, again, I had a little quote Sunday I quoted. St. Augustine said, when the Scripture speaks, God speaks. And this whole idea of when God speaks, something happens. It's kind of like Merrill Lynch. Was it Merrill Lynch? One of those, everybody listens when Merrill.
E.F. Hutton.
E.F. Hutton, yeah. What do you remember the commercial, Ben?
When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen.
Okay, yeah. So I think the whole, you got to have a guy a little older than you here, Trevor. He can help me. But the whole idea that our words are backed up.
Trevor's like, E.F. Hutton, what is that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they got.
Is that a restaurant?
I'm pretty sure they got in trouble.
Is that like a syrup brand?
I'm pretty sure they got in trouble with the Securities Exchange Commission. They're gone now.
But I think backed up with a life that is committed to what you're saying, it makes them valuable. Man.
I think obviously the person that it's coming from makes it valuable. If it's the stranger on the street, and trying to give you advice, maybe that's different. But obviously, if it's someone that has poured their love into you, you know, and has spent time with you and genuinely cares, like that obviously adds value to the words that you say.
Let's think about it, guys. Me and Ben and Trevor and Reese, 4 of us. What's the last thing that happened that you want to say thank you for? We're on the spot.
Like the last, like big thing, little thing.
It don't matter. It doesn't if it's a big thing or a little thing. Last thing that happened that you want to say thank you for.
I'd like to thank Reese for coming tonight. She was, I was running late and had trouble getting here, and so I called and prepped her, and she came out the door, and her face indicated that she was coming, but wasn't like super pumped.
Okay,
and,
that's okay.
And I asked her several times about, you know, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. But you know, it does mean a lot to me that you come and help, because it's
that's a good thank you.
That's good.
That's a good thank you. Okay.
I would say to like the people that I haven't had a chance, you know, that's an excuse that I have not thanked for, like, you know, a card in the mail by Beverly McKinney, just
thanking for the work behind the scenes. And Ken Hollis and Leah and Timmy have brought donuts, you know, on Sunday mornings to us. So those are the things that, like, you know, it'd be good to just say thank you. So thank you.
I want to say thank you. Reese, you're next. You're last. I want to say, and I don't know, there ought to be others, but my wife has been teaching a Sunday school class of 4 grandkids. You should see this picture. Ben, you love this picture. All 4 of them are sitting on the little chairs on the patio, and they've got little white boards and markers in their hands, and she invites them to draw a picture and then tell the Bible story that goes along with it. And if I had my phone, I'd text it to you and could put it online, but it's a really precious thing, and you know, it's a little inconvenient, I don't know, but it's just fun. Anita does some things that don't seem like I'm brave enough to do. She just says, hey, we're having Sunday school now. And she'll line them up, and there they go, you know. And Nolan's saying, I'm done, I want to ride my bike. And she said, no, not yet, we got to. So I really appreciate that. That's a neat thing. Okay, Reese, who you want to say thank you to?
Well, the last thing I would say would be my mom went and bought me food. So.
Hey, Heather Hill's getting shout out tonight. Right. Heather, you're the girl tonight. Don't ever forget banana pudding when you think about Heather Hill. Go ahead.
Randy Curry says straight talk is easily understood.
Yeah.
And that's very wise words, man.
My brother is the master at straight talk. That guy right there, I mean, he just doesn't pull any punches. Right. He won't be ugly, but it'll be straight. And
but that's not even just confrontational talk. But that's like, don't beat around the bushes, man. Just tell that person how you feel, you know?
Yeah. My grandma used to say plain English is easy to understand. And she was the master at plain English. And sometimes it was too plain, and sometimes it wasn't all that nice, but she didn't you come in the house, she hadn't seen you for a while, she said, you've been putting on a little weight, haven't you? And I'm like, I got you. I got you, Granny. I got you, you know. But yeah, plain English is easy to understand. Sometimes it's hard to hear.
Yeah. I mean, Mother's Day's coming up. I think it's a great opportunity to call our moms sometime this week, or a motherly figure, or whatever that looks like, and just say thank you, you know. I would encourage, and Harry, you can help me plug this, but we're trying to get some videos for Sunday morning, just a 15, 20-second video of people appreciating their mom. You can record that on your phone and then send that in to the church. So.
And that can be video, or it could be even a picture.
A picture, yeah, I'm good with anything. I just want that Sunday just to be a little bit more special, because we usually do something pretty cool for moms.
We've got a pretty cool thing in the works right now for moms, I think, for Mother's Day. So you moms are there watching, it's going to be Mother's Day at the church. We may not be in the building together, but it's going to be Mother's Day at the church. Absolutely. And I'm pretty pumped about just a little touch that we're doing. It's not a huge thing, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So I like it.
And I really like your challenge tonight to just say, man, take time to thank someone.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what the challenge was?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, just like Reese said, my mom got me food. Hey, you know, that's, little things they go a long, 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 long way.
I asked Lucas last night when we were doing our prayers, I said, You know, is there anything you want to thank the Lord for?
Yeah.
Just those little moments where you're just kind of, like as a dad, I'm kind of like, man, if I don't talk about that, like he's not going to understand what that gratefulness looks like. You know, like the Lord kind of had to check me there, and I had to push him a little bit, because that's not something a 5-year-old is usually like understanding of, like, yeah, you know, I thank him for my Legos, and you know,
Yeah,
so you
right.
got to push him a little bit to get to a point where it's like, all right, man, let's really think about that.
It's interesting you say that. I
Yeah.
heard James had a conversation with Isaiah today about what they had to be thankful for. And Isaiah said, Dad, when I think about it, there's at least 1 million things. And that's a great perspective, you know,
Yeah,
that
it is.
if we can just live there a little more often, life would be better. Particularly if we express it, man. If we express it. It's good. It's good.
That's a good foundation to build on a godly worldview.
Yeah. It's a good worldview.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. We didn't plan to talk about these just really common and simple things tonight, but we did. And so glad that you joined us for a little while. And please remember to pray for Morton Logston. He'll either have surgery in the end of the week or possibly emergency surgery tomorrow. So remember him. It's it's a significant surgery and a significant time in his whole recovery process. We're praying. But thank you for joining us. And don't forget the challenge tonight to just be thankful and express that to somebody. And if you get started and it needs to be 7 people, that's quite all right. Texting is permissible. The voice may be a little better, but we'll take texting if that's the best you can do. But can we just kind of agree together that we'll just do the simple, ordinary, common things that make all the difference in the world? Thank you, Jim Wade, for teaching us.
Yeah.
And so we'll pray a little prayer before we go. And again, thank you for being here. Lord, thank you for the way this conversation went tonight. You know we never script it. It's always just a spiritual, it's always a conversation among friends that has a spiritual flavor. And I thank you for the conversation tonight around the most simple things of our daily lives. Keep us tuned in on those and help us to be grateful and to express that and just to follow the clear and simple instructions about how to live our lives. I pray you bless those that joined in tonight and those that will watch sometimes later. And may this just help us all to have a better week and a better morning tomorrow. Thank you for all your goodness and your grace extended to us. Bless us through this time. Keep your hand upon us, and we'll give you praise. These things we ask in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And everybody said, Amen.